The account which follows is utterly bizarre. Whilst I was pursuing my studies in America, I took it upon myself to discuss the details with some acquaintances pursuing PhDs in the science faculty of what was, after all, a world-renowned university. They assured me that the account is scientifically plausible. Nevertheless, I cannot be persuaded of the veracity of such an account. Such things simply do not happen. Welcome to the happy world of Haribo. A cheerful German woman entered the room. Throwing her hands up, the projector screen was like a spotlight on her, casting a grand shadow. Welcome, welcome, welcome! I am so excited to have all of you with us for the 100th anniversary of Haribo! The shrillness of her voice went on to lacerate the small group with the history of the founding father, Hans Riedel, the legend of the dancing bear, before it was known as the Golden Bears. I could care less about the history, or anything other than the $100 I was promised at the end of the day. Testing candy had to have been the easiest gig I could have grabbed for some spare cash, and there were only a half dozen of us participating. I scratched my nails into the surface of the table. I was so bored. I waited impatiently for her spiel to end. Now, if you'll all look under your chairs. I fixed my attention back onto the front of the room as the instructions began. You will find an assigned number. I pulled a note card from under my seat. 99. But there were only 6 of us. This is your designated room number, she continued, answering my silent question. There was a shapely-looking housewife sitting in front of me. I squinted to try and see her card, but it was too dark. You will all be testing the treats in individual rooms. We all got up as our numbers were called, summoning each of us to the front. 12, 15, 36, 87, 90, 99. One by one, I watched my fellows stand and disappear behind a door I hadn't noticed before on the other side of the projector's light. When I heard my number, I made my way up front. The spokeswoman for Haribo was still smiling. It looked painful. Her skin stretched and tightened as if pinned beneath her hair. Her eyes were watering, even as she swept her arm out in front of her, as if to show me the way out. Lucky number 99! She shrieked a giggle that made me jump as I left the room. The hallway was hospital-like, and the lights flickered on with motion detection, even though I'd watched an older gentleman walk through this same door just a minute ago. I could smell nothing but bleach as I looked around for an indication of which way to turn. A speaker above my left shoulder produced a crackled voice that rattled off directions. This was officially the strangest product testing assignment I'd ever done. I tugged on the sleeves of my hoodie nervously before taking a left and walking down the hallway as instructed. I read the numbers on each door, 9, 19, 29, 39, and so on. When I came to my room, I was at the end of the line and the end of the hallway, the path behind, dark. There was a smiling bear inside each circle of the 99 on the door. I wasn't sure what I was expecting on the other side, but the plain white room, empty save for a table with 2 metal chairs and a standard 2-way mirror, was not it. Okay, this is cool, I reassured myself. I had rolled my sleeves up, but they'd fallen down. I rolled them up a second time, feeling comfortable again. Then I took a seat in the closest chair. No one came for several minutes. I could hear nothing outside the room. I noticed there wasn't even a vent for air circulation. There was a drain under the table. I rationalized it was for easy cleanup if the flavor of the candy made anyone puke. As I probed the drain with the bottom of my sneaker, the door behind me opened, and a man in a tweed suit, lab coat, Wayfarer glasses, and a haircut not from his era walked in. "I apologize for the wait." He had a German accent, as the cheerful woman before had. "Are you guys dressing up for the anniversary?" I asked, my head cocked to the side. I'd not seen people dressed like that since Mad Men became popular. "Ah, yeah, that's very funny." He cracked a smile that I thought to be forced as the man set down a bag of unmarked candy on the table. "This is your subject." The well-dressed man wasn't looking at me when he spoke. Instead, he stared into the mirror. "Please eat the candy." Do you want me to take notes, or is there a bucket if I want to spit it out? My questions were met with a cold stare. He didn't blink. "Okay," I trailed off and grabbed a plastic bag. Inside the bag were gummies, shaped like little rockets. Or maybe they were fish. I inspected the shape, color, and tested consistency by pinching it between my fingers. I was going off my previous food testing gigs, where companies wanted to know more than just about the taste. They wanted to know market appeal too. "Please eat," the man across from me urged. I guess he didn't care about my opinion of anything but flavor. "All of it," he added, his forced smile back. "What?" I asked, pulling the piece I had brought to my lips back. "Eat all of them." He pushed the bag closer to me and looked over to the mirror again. Awkwardly, I picked up a few more gummies and popped them into my mouth, the colors various shades of green and yellow. I tasted the familiar sweetness of a gummy bear. I'd had Haribo candy before. The flavor was the same as any other tacky little candy. I popped in a few more candies. My jaw was starting to tire, and when I swallowed, all I seemed to clear out was saliva. Impulsively, I took a few more pieces and pushed them past my lips and teeth, mashing them. It hurt now to chew, like I was tearing my muscles each time. Tears were streaming out the corners of my eyes as I felt myself rip my mouth open repetitively to chew the candy. The bag was not empty, but I did not know how I could eat any more. I whined to the employee. To my surprise, I couldn't speak. Following the man's gaze to the reflection on the wall, I whimpered like a kicked puppy. I stared at myself as my jaw compulsively kept popping, making my mouth bleed. The candy had become like adhesive. Each time I made to chew, I was ripping flesh from the inside of my mouth, but I could not stop myself from grinding my teeth. My body was on autopilot. I knew I had to finish the gummy rockets, every last one of them. As you can see, the subject's mouth not only seals itself, limiting speech, but also drives a compulsion to continue to chew. This specimen is quite helpless." The Haribo man stood up, smiling pridefully. "Masked as a harmless candy, you can render a man speechless with just a bite." He chuckled as if he'd cracked a sales pitch joke while I screamed internally, swallowing blood instead of sugar. The candy was turning crunchy in my mouth as teeth were yanked from my gums the more I gnawed. The longer the subject is exposed, the worse the condition becomes. Sneak this in rations to ruin your enemies at the source. It was a sales pitch. I fell from my chair, clawing at my face, trying to tear my mouth open as I began to choke on the blood, chunks of tongue and shattered teeth suffocating me with every gulp. I crawled to the man, looking up and pleading to him through muffled, gargled moans. It will be over soon. He smiled at me, like a dentist at Auschwitz. I felt no reassurance as I gagged, no place for the coming vomit to go. I couldn't breathe as I choked on a gore of fluids. I crawled under the table and clawed at the drain feebly. The dark spots that were the drain holes multiplied and filled my vision, and they blurred and grew until I could see no more and feel no more. In minutes, they suffocate and die. I hope you will all pick Haribo for your fatal solutions. If you will all proceed to room 90, the next demonstration is to begin.